the grade 10s. So we're still going expanding and using FOIL. Now with this foiling you can get some different methods. Okay, so for example, like here it's special FOIL resulting in a difference of two squares. Now you guys can learn these methods if you want, but rather just learn the one method, that foiling method, first outer inner last. You can't go wrong with it, and it'll work for every single example. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm going to do here. So I'm not going to do anything special with difference of two squares like this or anything like that. I'm just going to be doing it the normal FOIL way. Okay, you can't go wrong with it, and you will get your answers right every single time. Okay, so if we just go through some examples here. Just want to get this down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the normal FOIL way that you guys learned the other day. You remember it's first, outer, inner, last. Okay, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. So if we do our firsts, we get 9m squared. If we do our outers, we get minus 12mp. Inners, 12mp. And guys, just remember to put these into alphabetical order, okay? And then the lasts will give us minus 16p squared, okay? You get your like terms together. Now you can see that the outer and the inners are going to cancel, and we're just left with 9m squared minus 16p squared, okay? Which you can see is a difference of two squares. So you see, it doesn't make a difference if you go the old-fashioned FOIL way. You're still going to get the same answer. And that's what I would like you guys to do. Rather go the old way, get the right answer, than learning these quick ways that you can simplify it very quickly and stuff. Once you guys feel a little bit more confident and stuff like that, I will show you these type of methods. Okay? All right, so if we look at the next one. Okay, so if you guys don't know how to multiply decimals, okay, I suggest you convert them to a fraction. So this would be 4 over 10 a squared plus 5q, and again 4 over 10 a squared minus 5q. Now don't worry about simplifying the fraction. We can do that at the end. Okay, so we're going to use the FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So the first terms, now remember when you're multiplying a fraction with a fraction, you do the top with the top, then the bottom with the bottom. So top and top is going to give us 16, and then 10 times 10 is going to give us 100. Okay, a squared times a squared is going to give us a to the 4. Now, when we multiply a fraction, because now I'm doing the outers, if we multiply a fraction with just a normal number, just remember that this is over a 1, and that's also over a 1. So again, I'm going to do top with top, bottom with bottom. Okay, so we're going to get a negative. 4 times 5 is 20, over 10 times 1 is 10. And we're left with a squared q. Now we're going to do the inners, so it's going to give us a positive. 5 times 4 is 20. Over 1 times 10 is 10, and we've got q a squared. If I put in that alphabetically, a squared q. All right, then we do the lasts. 5 times minus 5 is minus 25, and then q times q is q squared. Okay, get like terms together. This minus 20 over 10 a squared q will cancel with this 20 over 10 a squared q. So what we're left with is, now I can simplify my fraction because these are gone. We're just left with that one and that one. 16 divided by 100 is 0.16, a to the 4 minus 25 q squared. Okay, again, we just use the old-fashioned FOIL method and we get the same answer. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, so I'm going to FOIL it. So again, we're dealing with fractions, so just remember top with top, bottom with bottom. So if we do the firsts, 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 times 2 is 4. Then we got p squared times p squared is p to the 4. Now I'm going to do the outers. So that's a positive times a negative is a negative. Top with top, 1 times 2 is 2 over 2 times 3 is 6. P squared q. Do the inners. Okay, so it's going to give us a positive. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And we got q p squared, alphabetically p squared q. Then we do the lasts. Positive and a negative gives us the negative. Top with top, bottom with bottom. So we've got 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. And then q times q is q squared. These will cancel. 2 over 6, or sorry, negative 2 over 6 p squared q plus 2 over 6 p squared q. They cancel, and what are we left with? That one and that one. So 1 over 4 p to the 4 minus 4 over 9 q squared. Okay, next example. Okay, grade 9s, 10s, still using FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So if we multiply the firsts, now don't get confused if there's a variable in the exponent. Okay, just remember, if bases are the same and we're multiplying, we add the exponent. So with our first, we've got x to the m times x to the m. Bases are the same, so we must add those exponents. So this would be x to the m plus m, because I add the exponents. If I do the outers, that's a positive times a negative, so it's a negative. And we've got x to the m times y to the n. X to the m, y to the n. There's nothing I can do with those because they are not like terms. Okay, x and y are not the same. Then our inners, plus we've got y to the n times x to the m. Put it in alphabetical, so we've got x to the m, y to the n. Okay, again, not like terms, so we cannot add those exponents. Then a positive times a negative is a negative. Y to the n times y to the n. Bases are the same, so I add the exponents. So y to the n plus n. These will cancel. And I just simplify my exponents. So m plus m is 2m minus, simplify the exponent, so n plus n is 2n. And there's our final answer there. Right, so grade 10s, what I would like you to do from this one is exercise 1.4, numbers 1 BDE, 2 CEHJ, and number 3. But before you continue with that, I just want to carry on because it's more or less the same work. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're going on to mixed examples. Okay, and I'm just going to go through these examples with you. So this is EG2A. All right, grade 10. I know it looks a little bit intense, but it's not too bad. What they've given us here is they've basically given us 2 FOIL questions. You see, we've got our 1 FOIL question there, and then we have another FOIL question there. So we have to just do FOIL twice, okay? So if I look at this first bracket over here, I'm going to FOIL that, first, outer, inner, last. So our firsts will give us 9x squared. Our outers will give us minus 3xy. Our inners will give us plus 3xy. And our last will give us minus y squared. Okay, so there was that first bracket there that gave us this one. Okay. Now, if I look at the second bracket, I must just be very careful here because I have a negative outside and I need to still distribute that negative inside. So I'm going to put the negative down and then just open up a bracket. Okay, so let's FOIL this one. So first, x times x gives us x squared, outers plus 2xy, inners minus 2xy, and then the last will give us minus 4y squared. Okay, before I do anything, I just want to simplify and get like terms together. So over here, you can see that minus 3xy will cancel with a positive 3xy. And then inside this bracket here, plus 2xy minus 2xy, they will cancel. So just to make it look a little bit easier, minus x squared minus 4y squared. Okay, now what I need to do is now I need to distribute this negative into both of these terms here. And when we distribute, we multiply. So this will leave us with a negative times a positive will give us the negative x squared. A negative times a negative will give us a positive 4y squared. Again, I must get like terms together. So there's an x squared and there's an x squared. So 9 minus 1 will give us 8x squared. Then over here, y squared and y squared, like terms. So we have minus y squared plus 4y squared will give us plus 3y squared. All right, so you see it's not too bad. We just had to FOIL twice and then get like terms together. All right, so let's look at this next example. All right, grade 10. So now what we've got here is we've got 3 brackets together, okay? And what I'm going to do is I always start with the last 2 brackets. So I'm going to FOIL those 2 brackets first. Leave this one for now. We'll deal with that one in a second, okay? So x plus 2. Now, if I FOIL this out, first outer inner last, just these 2 brackets, guys. So x squared times x will give us x cubed. Outers minus 2x squared. Inners plus 4x. And then lasts minus 8. Now, if I look inside this bracket here, grade 10s, there's no like terms. I cannot simplify that. So it stays as it is, okay? Now I still need to deal with this bracket here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute that x into each one of these terms here. All right. So x times x cubed will give us x to the 4. X times minus 2x squared will give us minus 2x cubed. X times plus 4x will give us 4x squared. And then x times minus 8 is minus 8x. Okay, now I need to do exactly the same for the 2. The 2 now needs to be distributed into each one of these terms. Okay, so 2 times x cubed is plus 2x cubed. 2 times minus 2x squared is minus 4x squared. 2 times plus 4x is plus 8x. And then 2 times minus 8 is minus 16. All right, now I'm ready to look for like terms. So x to the 4, no other x to the 4. So that's just x to the 4 minus 2x cubed plus 2x cubed. They cancel. 4x squared, positive, minus 4x squared. They cancel. Minus 8x plus 8x, they cancel. And we're left with minus 16. So you see how nicely it works out, even if we use the old-fashioned FOIL method. You cannot go wrong with it, grade 10s. Okay. Last example. Okay. So over here, we've got a FOIL. Now over here, we do have to FOIL, but it's hidden. That's what the squared means over here. The squared means that we have two of these brackets. So before I start foiling this one out, I just want to expand this one. Okay, so this becomes that's what that 2 means. It means we have two of these brackets, and that's what I wrote. 3p minus q, 3p minus q. Now we have FOIL, FOIL, and I'm going to do exactly the same as that previous example. Okay, so firsts will give us p squared, outers plus 3pq, inners minus 2pq, and then last minus 6q squared. Now, be very careful with this one. We have a negative outside the bracket, so I must still distribute that negative inside after I've FOILed, okay? Now, firsts will give us 9p squared. Outers, minus 3pq. Inners, minus 3pq. And then lasts plus q squared. I just want to simplify first, get like terms together, so we get p squared plus 3pq minus 2pq is plus pq, minus 6q squared minus 9p squared minus 3pq minus 3pq is minus 6pq plus q squared. Okay, now I'm going to distribute that negative in to each one of these terms. Okay, so that'll give us minus 9p squared. A negative and a negative is a positive 6pq, and a negative and a positive is a negative q squared. Again, get like terms together, so p squared, another p squared, so that's 1 minus 9 is minus 8p squared. Let's look for pq's, so we've got a pq plus a 6pq is plus 7pq. And then q squared, minus 6q squared minus q squared is minus 7q squared. Okay, grade 10s. What I would like you to do for homework for me here is 1.5 A, C, F, H, I, and J for me, please. Thank you.